because I've got all this news here in front of me, but when somebody disagrees, they go to the head of the line, and I just can't help it. On my screen, it says, I hate you, you suck, I disagree with everything you say, you lie about everything, nothing you say is true. Again, we don't screen your calls, but if you want to volunteer some hateful screed, for me to know what it's about, we will certainly read that out on air. And so let's see if the person can contain themselves and not use profanity to where we have to delay them out. And it's not delayed on the internet. We need to do something about that. We don't want to hurt the ears of the people online there. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and go to Howard in New York. Howard, you're on the air. Go ahead.
First of all, I said I disagree with you and I don't like you. I didn't say you suck or anything like that.
Okay, well, whatever. That's what they said you said.
All right. Second
You're on the air now, sir. Go ahead.
Give me 2 minutes without interrupting me, okay? Then you can say anything.
I know. You got to always act like you got the power and you're setting the ground rules. Sir, make your point or I'm going to hang up on you.
Okay. I've read your website a few times, and I've listened to a few guests you had on. And I see all these articles you have on your website talking about Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, Ariel Sharon, and the like. And I feel, in my opinion, you're no better than George Galloway, no better than Ray McGovern, no better than Mel Gibson. In my opinion, I think you're an anti-Semite. And I just heard you say that Israel has 400 nuclear weapons. How do you know that? And if they did, they're the only civilized country in the Middle East, surrounded by a bunch of maniacs who want to
hold
bomb
on.
them.
This is all crazy here. Are you saying I'm lying about Israel having nukes?
Well, how do you know? Prove that.
Well, Mr. Morneau and a bunch of other people have come out, and Israel has admitted in a bunch of declassified documents because the media has only lied in the U.S. and said they didn't have nukes all these years, but now it's admitted. I mean, it's admitted, sir. You're saying I'm lying about that?
Well, I never read an article saying that.
Okay, hold on. You don't want to put you on hold. Oops, I actually hung up on him. Sir, call back in. We'll keep a line open for you. I missed the number there and hit the wrong button. Listen, I can't do this with you, okay? I mean, I can't be in this delusional world with you. I can't do it anymore. All right, brother? I can't live in an imaginary world anymore. I won't do it. See, most Americans think if something's your opinion, that makes it so. He said, I'd like to see your article. I'd like to see your proof of that. They've arrested a bunch of their scientists that worked at these labs. They've had nukes since the early 1960s. The United States gave it to them. They've got, of course, former President Jimmy Carter, and then Israel got mad and said he released classified info. They said it was true. A few weeks ago said, hey, you got 200 and something nukes. That's how much he knew when he was in office. It's 400. The real number is more like 800. If you want to get technical, it's 800. But the mainline scholarly amount admitted the last time stuff got leaked in the early 90s was 400. They got German Dolphin subs. They've got cruise missiles, bombers, everything. And so I say Israel's got 400 nukes, whether it's 200 or 900, whatever. They got hundreds of nuclear weapons. It's hypocritical to say that Iran's going to get one when the UN and everybody else says, and our own CIA assessment says they don't have nukes. To then say, well, they might get one someday, so we want to nuke them. They've said, hit them with a bunch of strategic nukes, which then, by the way, will add and create isotopes with a ground detonation, much dirtier than an atmospheric, because then the atmosphere, it doesn't create a lot of fallout. The fallout's the combination of the reaction and the surrounding metals and compounds. You know what a little bit of cobalt will do? Just a little bit in the ground where that nuke goes off? I mean, let's say a little bit of cobalt in a machine at that base, and they have, by the way, cobalt and things there. Just hundreds of different metals create incredibly radioactive isotopes, and they want to hit them with hundreds of strategic nukes all over Iran at all their research sites, destroying their entire infrastructure. That will be thrown into the air, and we'll breathe it. Okay? So as an American who pays all this tax money to Israel, and I don't like it going to Egypt, Israel, Russia, China. I don't like it going to hundreds of countries. I'm against all this foreign aid. And Ron Paul comes out and says, I'm against foreign aid. And why is it? Do people say I'm anti-Egyptian because I'm against them getting foreign aid? You ought to go look at all the Nazi sites that attack me because, I don't come out and say Jews are the devil. So, but at the same time, I don't appreciate, and that's why Israel's lost so much credibility, is calling former presidents and calling anybody that's against attacking Iran an anti-Semite. When, both my grandfathers were in the Army Air Corps, and one of them crashed and almost died The other was a gunner. One was a pilot, one was a gunner. And he never, until after he died, he just said, oh, I was in the Army. And then we found out he was in B-17s and a gunner going into Germany. How dare you? When I almost don't exist, because my grandfathers both almost died fighting Hitler. How dare you? I mean, now it's basically implied that America's Nazi Germany. And America's bad. And America has got to... And I'll tell you something, too. I don't like the fact that Israel's been caught spying on this country so much. And I don't like the fact that Benjamin Netanyahu's mother founded the Mossad. He's known to be a dual citizen. And he is known to be Homeland Security head. He wants to use Israeli companies, this is Reuters, to run domestic checkpoints and train our police to have domestic checkpoints in America violate my Fourth Amendment. I wouldn't like a Mexican company doing that, or a Russian company, or an Israeli company. And it's my right under the First Amendment to say that I don't like that, and how dare you when I almost don't exist. Both my grandfathers almost died in the defense of this country in the air, and in the defense of the Jewish people, and the defense against Hitler, and you call here, and you go to a World War II veteran who fought for this country in the Pacific like Jimmy Carter, and say he's an anti-Semite because it's on video, Israeli police shooting Palestinian children and laughing. That's wrong. And then when you defend that, you then make the entire Israeli uniform disgraced. Just like when our troops torture people, they disgrace our uniform. It's people like that disgracing Israel and disgracing this country, not people speaking out against it. I mean, is this country a politically correct cult or something? I mean, Ray McGovern was a top CIA analyst for George Bush Sr. and Ronald Reagan. He reported before we attacked there was no WMDs and that they falsified the reports. That's now all come out. Is Scott McClellan anti-Israel? I mean, can't we just say we don't want World War III? The mainstream media is reporting that if they attack Iran for at least a year, we will have $12 a gallon gas. You know what that'll do to the rest of the economy? I don't want to have nuclear fallout. I don't want to kill more Arabs and Central Asians. I don't want bad things to happen. This is incredible. I have my First Amendment right to say I don't want war, along with 80% of the American people. And 80% of the American people know they're not anti-Semitic. Frankly, I never even think about Israel or Jews or people until the media brings it up and says, if you don't support nuking Iran, you love Hitler. How dare you? My very existence was threatened. And many of you lost your grandfathers and people fighting Hitler, and then we get called that. That is outrageous. We'll be right back with more news, stuff that actually matters, not little mindless diversions. They're coming to forcibly inoculate you. Stay with us. Okay, during the break, I Googled nuclear weapons Israel. Thousands of Reuters, AP, Washington Post, universities, encyclopedias, but they're all anti-Semitic. They all hate Israel. So I thought I'd go to Haaretz for you, the third largest paper in Israel. And it goes on to say that of all places in the world, Jimmy Carter chose a book fair on the banks of the River Wye in Wales as a spot from which to put an official end to Israel's nuclear ambiguity. One cannot exaggerate the importance of the former American president's statement that Israel has 150 nuclear bombs. That's back when he was in office, they did. More than all these estimates and leaks about Israel's nuclear program over the past 5 decades, Carter's comments on Sunday gave official admission to Israel's status as a nuclear power. And it goes into Vanunu and all those they've arrested. Jane's Weapons Quarterly, which is the encyclopedia of weapons, says they've got about 800. Israel's also got race-specific bioweapons that kill certain races. So does the U.S., so did South Africa, so did the Russians. That's stuff that kills certain groups of people. And Dick Cheney wrote in Rebuilding America's Defenses, September 20th, 2000, page 46, that they need to legitimize in the media killing certain races of people with bioweapons. I mean, my gosh, folks, I think it's time to be in reality. I didn't write that. The vice president did. And PNAC had their website up for 10 years. They just took it down last week and made news, but it's been cached by universities. That is saved. Heaven help us, folks. You know, I just covered the news here on this show, and that guy said, how do you know? How do you prove it? Why are you talking about something that's classified? Like, I'm lying, A, they've got weapons, or like, if he says I'm not allowed to say they have them, it doesn't. I mean, this is bizarre. This is bizarre. But that's, I guess, what we've turned into in this country. I'll never forget a couple months ago, they had the White House press secretary. She's up there. And they say, is it true that most of the gas price increases are because the dollar's been devalued? Is it true the dollar's been devalued? And like 4 reporters asked her. We played the clip on the show. I think it was even the Sunday show. They kept saying, is it true? Is it true the dollar's been devalued? Is it true? Can the White House, because the media will never say, all the foreign press admits it. It's a set number on the world market every day in currency market trading. I mean, it's like asking what the top temperature was in your city a day. I mean, you can go look it up. It's like asking the temperature that ice freezes. It's like asking, just anything. It's just absolute fact. But see, our media doesn't do that. They go, is it true they've got news? Can we say it? We're such lapdogs. Oh, is it true the dollar's been devalued? And she said, I can't answer that. I'll be fired if I tell you. I've been told not to tell you. And so the media said, well, we can't say whether the dollar's been devalued in world currency markets because the White House won't tell us. That's like saying, White House, how do I zip my pants? Can you do it for me? Is this a zipper? I mean, this is a nation of total zombies. I can't believe what we've turned into. But see, used to people didn't watch TV. They read newspapers 4 or 5 hours a day for entertainment. And even though that had a lot of propaganda in it 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago, still, there would be 10, 15 papers in a city the size of New York, or 4 or 5 in Dallas, or 5 or 6 in Houston, or 6 or 7 in Detroit. And they would compete and have different angles, or you'd find out this paper was the establishment one, and this one was the muckraking, and not now. It's just, he said there's Snoop's, he's a liar. I bet that caller was really mad that I was pointing out our government is Al-Qaeda, runs Al-Qaeda publicly. Maybe I should pull up the White House press release from September last year where they said, yes, we are launching guerrilla groups in Iran 4 years after we reported it. It's already been going on. And, yes, they are killing and bombing. And they have generals on Fox saying, yeah, we need to blow things up and bomb people on the streets of Tehran. Who are those people? They're Wahhabis from Saudi Arabia, Al-Qaeda. And I'm sorry it's coming out. You know what? How about I type into Google, Israel creates fake terror groups, and I'll be on Jerusalem Post and Haaretz and UPI and AP, but never made our news, never made the big nightly news about Anna Nicole Smith or OJ's new trial or whatever the new ridiculous diversion is. I mean, is Haaretz bad? Should I report that Israel created fake Al-Qaeda groups to bomb innocent Jews every time to end the peace process? I mean, is Haaretz anti-Israel? No. There's a lot of people in Israel that don't like what's happening. In fact, more than half in many of the polls, but the military government doesn't care. And they play this parliamentary game of never letting the people get control. Now, are there some real Arabs that want to stab and kill and shoot and bomb Israelis? Yes. Is it tribal warfare going on for thousands of years? I mean, those tribes have been killing each other for 3,000 years. They're all intermarried. They do their genotype. It's the same group. The Arabs and the Jews are killing each other. It's absolutely ridiculous. They're all cousins. Paul's looking at me with a quizzical look. What, you didn't know that the Arabs and the Jews are the same people? Yeah, it's just, yeah. No, I mean, I'm asking, you have a question? Yeah, no. See, it goes back to Jacob. It's in the Old Testament, the Torah. Probably anti-Semitic to read the Bible. I know I'm evil. I'm sorry. The Bible probably is, and it says they're the same. Abraham had one wife, and she couldn't get pregnant, and so then he went and took a concubine, and then that's they say that's the Arab lineage, okay, and then Well, yes, they did have multiple wives, and yes, that does come from, well, that's even pre-quote Israelite. But yeah, but the whole region, forever, people have had multiple wives. That's been phased out in Judaism. But yes, that's exactly right. Oh my gosh, I'm some kind of thought criminal. It's kind of like Idiocracy. Have you seen that movie where if you can talk, they arrest you? You know, the guy says, I have rights, I have freedoms. And they go, he's talking like a criminal, or he's talking like a, and they come and arrest him. He's talking fancy. Taser him. He knows how to Google and read Harat saying Israel fakes terror attacks. Oh, my gosh, he doesn't like Israel. I'm not allowed to read out of Harat's. I'm bad because I don't want endless war and killing. You see, because I am for humanity. I want every African child to not be shot up with AIDS virus-laden vaccines and die, which they admit they've done. I want every Jewish child, whether they're Roman Jews or Ashkenazi, I don't care. I want everybody, whether they're German, whether they're from the Sudetenland or whether they're Alsatian. I want Mongolian Chinese to have good lives and their children to do well and to explore space together. See, I don't stoop to the tribal level. I'm sorry. All governments are corrupt and evil because evil people always want control. And yes, there are evil Germans. There are evil Chinese. There are evil British. There are evil Jews. But if you say with some people that Israel ever did wrong or ever did anything bad, even though their last couple of prime ministers had to step down because of bribery, well, ours do that too. The ADL says you're a Hitler lover. And I'm sorry, I'm not the Simon Wiesenthal Center and the ADL that have given awards to Arnold Alo Schwarzenegger, who gave out Hitler records, Heil Hitler in front of people. Rolling Stone reported, said he admired Hitler and wanted to be a dictator, and wears Nazi belt buckles on the cover of Time magazine. And I frankly don't appreciate the fact that I've protested him and that I've protested the Klan and other groups, and that you have given a Nazi an award. I think that is something you need to explain. Very shameful.